On this episode of Tony's Fords and Mustangs, I'm going to start to get the Maverick ready for the trip across country. Got a couple things I got to do. One, I've got this. This is a donut for the exhaust manifold. It's a flange, gasket, whatever you want to call it. I've got an exhaust leak there. It's pretty substantial. So much so that I removed the smokestack, the part that comes off of the manifold to heat up the engine on first start, because it was just dumping exhaust fumes into the engine. So I'm going to fix that today. I'm going to check my diff levels. I'm going to pull the wheels and check all the wheel bearings to make sure that we're okay there. Probably repack them, pull them, repack them. Check all the brake lines to make sure they're still flexible and serviceable. It's a pretty long trip. The big thing is I'm going to pull the gas tank today and replace the gas line all the way to the front. The reason for that is I'm getting a lot of rust in my filter, and that could cause problems on a carburetor. You get a piece of rust that floats up in there, it could clog up a jet, could cause a lot of issues. So I'm just going to pull the tank. I'm right around $250 for the tank and the line. Doesn't seem to be too high a price to pay for that feeling of security, knowing that my gas is actually clean coming into the carb. Pretty sure this exhaust donut's seen better days. There's the old one, and that's the new one that's going to go in. This thing was, not doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to replace that now with the new one. This thing was $2. Now, I say this in every video. If you don't have a lift, get a lift. Oh, and pardon the headlamp. That's prerequisite. I got to show you what I have going on here. So, up there, I don't know if you can see that. Trying to get my headlamp in there, is the exhaust manifold. And I needed to pull the starter to get at it, but having a lift makes this so much easier. So drop it down, pull the battery cable, put it back up in the air, pull the starter, and then I can get at both of those nuts on the downpipe off the manifold. Made it simple having the lift. To do this on my back would have been awful. So I greased up all the grease points, so that's something. I've checked the wheel bearings on this side. They appear to be relatively new. The studs on that rotor are new, and that would lead me to believe that both these rotors were replaced not too long ago. And when you replace the rotors, you put new wheel bearings in. So I repacked them on this side. I'm going to break it off on this side, make sure the studs are new on there as well. But if they are, I'm just going to roll with it. Next thing I'm going to do is get back in there, and if you can see, I have a drop light going because my Delphi, I let the battery run low, so I'm recharging that. But I'm going to get in the back and check the rear diff fluid, see where that's at. That's about as simple a thing as you can do on most older vehicles. I'll show you here. Okay, so what we're going to look for is a plug like this. You're just going to grab a 3/8 drive ratchet, stick it in there, pull that plug, and you know it's full if it's when it starts to run out. So if it's not running out, it's not full. So I just really want to get in here and then break this loose. It shouldn't be torqued down too awful much. I say that and it's in there like crazy. Hey. All right, so that's out. Yeah, we're gonna stick our finger in here and see what's what. Yep, there's some fluid on my finger. I'm just going to try to top it off now, and that'll be that. Just straight gear oil. So I got my gear oil in a pump can like this. And this is just straight gear oil. There's no limited slip in here or anything I really have to worry about. So I'm just going to fill it up until it runs out the side. Oh no. Stay in there. Running out. You guys see that? No, the problem with gear oil is the viscosity is so thick. How are we doing there? Oh yeah, that's right there. That's what I wanted. I want it to be right there. So today, work continues on the Maverick, getting it ready for the cross-country trip. I've sealed the exhaust manifold gasket. I've got all the grease points checked. I checked the front wheel bearings. The rear diff is now full. I did check the rear brakes. They seem to be okay. The next on my list is the gas tank. And I'm going to bring you in there and show you what's going on with that. There's 5 screws there that need to be removed from the filler neck. Inside, this is a gasket that exists between the tank and the body of the car, but in the trunk area. I believe there's supposed to be screws in there, but mine had rivets. Not sure, maybe Ford went to rivets. And then we have another gasket that goes between the filler neck and the tank. You can see that thing's kind of rusted up. Gonna lube that up a little bit with some WD-40 and see if I can't get that to free up a little bit. Once this neck's out, I'm gonna have access to the tank. I'm then gonna siphon out what fuel's in there, just because why not? Why drop the tank with fuel in it? So the filler neck's out, and that was actually a battle. This thing did I think it had a lot to do with this rusty area here that it didn't want to come out. But it took a lot of work to get that thing out. Next is to drop the tank. Once I drop the tank, then I can install the new one. I got real lucky on this. The filler neck gasket is really pliable in this. It's pretty good shape. So I'm going to be able to reuse that. And I'm going to run a fuel line, but I didn't buy a preformed steel fuel line. I actually bought, let me show you this. This is a roll of nickel copper. This stuff bends so easily, and it won't rust again. I don't know if I covered this or not, but my rear window seal was replaced. So the window seal is replaced. I'm good there. It doesn't leak into the car anymore, which that's what I was going for. Now, it's always best to have a friend help you with this kind of thing, but in lieu of a friend, because I'm retired, so a lot of my friends are working still, trans jack. Nice thing to have. I'm going to use that to hold the tank up while I undo the straps. Then it'll be easier for me to lower it. I can just pull the lever, lower it down. Should be easy. All right, nice. Not too bad. It's good when a plan works out. So thanks to my friend over here, the transmission jack, that went pretty easy. Now, I debated replacing a fuel line on this car because it's a lot of work. It's not really easy to do, but I'm glad I did it. I'm going to show you this right here. Yeah, that thing's leaking, and all I did was remove the clamp. This is probably something that would have popped up on the road. It's one of those things, better safe than sorry. You don't want to replace some fuel lines out on the road. These metal clamps, I'm not going to use these again. I bought some clamps that are rubber clad. That way there's a little bit of isolation and you don't have that metal on metal contact you have with these metal clamps. The tank is in. The 2 straps are back in. I gotta tuck up that air shock line. The sending unit is in. The fuel line is in. And here's my new fuel line. So the old one was rusted pretty severely. This nickel copper I really like. I bent this in place. It's not rubbing anywhere. It's not touching. I used the rubber clad clamps, so there's no rubbing. And that's similar to the way it was the factory. Not exact. It's a little more smooth. The bends are a little more smooth. So I have to go up, drop the car down, grab the front line, run that as well, and then connect the 2. Ford did that with a piece of rubber hose. So they ran hardline most of the way, but there is rubber hose in Ford's setup. So let me show you what we have going on here. The new fuel line is in. It's not rubbing or chafing anywhere. It's going up through and then clamped down and running into there. That's going to go up to the fuel pump. That pump, by the way, was replaced. I have a receipt in there not that long ago, so I'm not too worried about the fuel pump itself. This is a filter I put in line after the carburetor change, and this is what compelled me to do all this work. That's rust, and most of that, I believe, is from the fuel line. I'm sure some of it's from the tank as well. You run that kind of stuff through a carburetor, you're going to have issues with the carburetor in short order. So this is the part where we're going to start it, check for leaks. I am going to get my headlamp on so that I can see underneath the car pretty well. This is where I cross my fingers, so appreciate it if you do the same. Let's see how we do. think we did pretty well. Sorry. No leaks. I think we did pretty good here. And if you want one of these Adelphi headlamps, and I can tell you, I use it constantly. I don't endorse anything on my channel simply because I don't know if I... Wait a minute. Simply because I don't know if I can trust it. But this is a really good product. I've used it well over a year now, and I take it with me wherever I go. It charges on USB. It holds up for about 6 hours. It's just a nice product to have. It makes things easy. You're not, holding stuff and trying to position a lamp. You just look where you need to see, and you can see it. So I'll leave a link down in the description. You get 10% off if you click that link. Help those guys out. I think they're good products. So the Maverick's done. Thanks for watching. I think I'm ready for my trip across country. A little bit of other news. When I get back, I'm going to sell this thing. I'll sell it for a little bit less than what I have in it. I think that's fair. It's going to be right around $5,000. So if you're looking for a car that can make it across country and back that's a little bit older, body not so hot. Yes, there's some rust there, but it looks good from 10 feet. So keep that in mind. Not sure exactly when that trip's going to be. Hopefully you follow along with it. Hopefully I do make it there and back and the car's worth something upon my return. Thanks for watching. Until next time, we'll see you.